Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you my full personal story starting in 2018, 5 years ago, of being super lonely, depressed, not able to get with any women, and having a life that I've freaking hated, to actually becoming in a relationship with the girlfriend of my dreams, and also having a life that I'm so proud of, so grateful for, that has every single thing that I want. And this is exactly what I want, all my Asian fellow brothers out there to be able to achieve as well. So I'm gonna pull back the curtains, show you exactly what I did on a day-by-day basis, and in my mind, to be able to create this life that I have. So everything started in 2018 when I was in university, and I wrote myself an email. One night I was tutoring calculus, okay, and there was no one there, and so I wrote myself an email with all of the things that I wanted to achieve, and I wrote even a timeline on it. I sent that email to myself, and then I pretty much just forgot about it, okay. I did revisit it from time to time, maybe once every 6 months or 12 months, but really I just it just went away. It was like a time capsule. And 5 years later, I was climbing Machu Picchu like 2 months ago, maybe 1 month ago. And on that day, I somehow had a vision to be like, let me check my email for that thing that I wrote down. And I found it and I opened it and I was like, holy shit, like I've accomplished every single thing that I wrote down on there. This is crazy. It's only been 5 years, right? I basically predicted the future, and I was like just in this bliss, and I was like overcome with, I can't believe this. So let me just show you, a little visual of all of this stuff. Well, here's the day I was at Machu Picchu, okay? It was a really special day for me because it's always been on my bucket list. And so that's me, a month ago. Here's me, when I wrote that vision. This was that year, okay? Probably down to the month. I mean, you could probably see that I look quite different in my confidence, in my face, in my entire essence, my entire being. I mean, I don't even recognize myself. And this was my dating profile at the time that I was trying to work on, and trying to get any dates that I could, which was like 0. And this was the exact draft of that paper. You can see March 25th, 2018. Okay, so I'll just read it to you. These are all the things that I wanted to accomplish at the time. Traveling and living anywhere I want, see the whole world, having all travel expenses paid for, helping other people as my job. At the time, I was gonna become an electrical engineer, and I hated that. I hated that. I'm so abundant with money that I don't have to think about spending money or giving money. I always wanted to be able to, help people around me, be able to pull one new girl a week, okay, so take one new girl home a week, be able to consistently get dates and get into healthy relationships with extremely beautiful and high self-esteem girls, have a job where I can take time off anytime, work anywhere, or choose to not work for short periods of time if I desire, have a kick-ass social circle of other high-value men, non-settling men, and gorgeous high-value women, throw Dan Bilzerian RSD Luke style boat parties, which I actually did a few times in Austin, and I discovered that I don't actually like it, but I did do it, and be able to spend as much money as I want on seminars, mentoring, masterminds, boot camps, etc. for personal growth. I've absolutely achieved this. I've gone to Tony Robbins. I've probably spent like over 100K at least over the last 5 years on my personal education growth outside of, college. Like college, I don't count as education, like real life education from mentors, masterminds, seminars, all of this kind of stuff. So this was what I wrote down, 5 years and 5 months ago. And let me just show you, all of this came true, all of it to a T. That day at Machu Picchu, I was like, this is crazy. So let me show you exactly the steps that I did. I kind of looked back and broke down how I achieved all of this. So the first thing that I did was I had a crystal clear vision. I asked myself, what do I want? And I wrote it down, okay? The first step is to write it down. If it's just in your head, it doesn't count, because once you write it down, it becomes real. Then double it. This is the power of basically, you shoot for the stars, you land at the moon. You want to double your goals such that it's so big and feels unrealistic, but then when you actually go for it, a lot of times you actually end up getting it. But even if you don't get it, you get something way better than if you had shot low. And the second part is just pure determination to get it. I don't know what is in me innately or something, but no matter how unrealistic something is, I always just like go for it. I just do. And I think that can be learned, honestly. I think that's a learned trait from when I was younger, because my parents always had high expectations for me that I always felt were like impossible in terms of grades and schools and stuff, but I always achieved it just because I set the bar high, or the bar was set high for me. You can literally set the bar for yourself and be like, this is how I want my life to be, and I'm not gonna settle for anything less. Even though you don't actually know how to get there. It doesn't matter if you know how to get there. It only matters that you know what the end destination is. From there, I took massive action. And there's a couple principles here that I want to go over. 1% per day. Also in the Japanese culture, this is known as Kaizen. It's basically this action taking plan where you only try to get better 1% every single day. Like when you go to the gym, you don't try to like gain 20 pounds of muscle in one day. You just try to put on, like, you just try to lift one more rep than the day before. When it comes to girls, like, you're only trying to get a little bit better with each interaction that you have with a woman. When it comes to social skills, you're only trying to become a little bit better at, you know, being funny or charming or leading or flirting. Each time you're only trying to get 1% better, and that compounds over time, like ridiculously. Okay, it's something like over a year you become like, you know, 3,000% better or something crazy like that. But most people only get 1% better per, who knows, month. And that's why it's so slow for them to achieve anything. Like for me, I do it every single day. I show up, right? That leads to my second point, is just showing up. Like, just like going to the gym, you just want to show up, because showing up is half the battle. It trains your mind to be like, you know, I'm here, I'm going to do the thing. Even if I can't give it 100% today, I still showed up. Right? And just showing up to the battle every day is what's going to get you forward and forward and forward. So, right, in a dating context, I was basically just trying. I was still updating my profile with photos. I was still swiping. I was still messaging despite having tons of failures. I was still trying to interact with women, even though I had no clue what I was doing, but just showing up and moving forward. If I moved the needle even 1% that day, I was proud of myself. That adds up so much over time, okay? And then these two are really big. These bottom two: lean into my fears and act despite my doubts. I had so many fears, right? Fear of not being good enough, fear of being rejected, fear of being alone, fear of staying lonely for the rest of my life, but also just like, you know, fear of, will I ever figure this out, right? Like, it seems like such a big, daunting thing that I couldn't even imagine myself being attractive to women. You know, in that old photo that I showed you, I mean, this version of me, this 2018 version of me, didn't even believe I was attractive. I couldn't even believe that I was attractive because I was Asian. That was a story that I told myself, that I'm not attractive because I'm Asian. I would even complain to all my friends that, like, yeah, like, girls can't even see the real me. They just see like Asian. When I talk to them, they just see Asian. When they see my dating profile, they just see Asian, and they're just gonna disqualify me right off the bat. That was literally what I believed, and I was so passionate about that idea, and I would complain to anybody who would listen. And I'm so glad I stopped doing that, because, you know, that would have held me back for all my life. But instead of giving into those fears, I leaned into them. I was like, okay, this is scary. I don't know if I can figure this out. I don't know how to figure it out. Let me just try. Let me just put one foot in front of the other. Let me take 1% action per day and get a little bit better over time. I'm not trying to be perfect on day one. I'm trying to be perfect, you know, several years down the line. And acting despite my doubts, right? All these doubts that I just told you about, like, you know, I don't know if I'm enough. You know, I'm Asian, so girls won't like me. I don't see anyone around me who looks like me who's succeeding with women, so I just don't think it's possible. I mean, that was massive doubt. And I was, you know, at some point I just had to be like, screw it, because either I'm gonna die alone with these doubts, or I'm gonna try to go out there and make something happen despite not knowing if it's possible, right? But I'm not gonna die alone. I'm not gonna be lonely for the rest of my life. Hell, I don't wanna be lonely through all my 30s and 20s and 30s. Just taking action, okay? Like, you know, tunnel vision into this black tunnel that I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but just keep on walking. That was the best thing that I ever did. That was the best thing I ever did. Just walking 1% forward every single day, despite feeling like it's hopeless, despite feeling like it's not possible, despite feeling like I'm not good enough. That is what eventually got me there. What made that actually a lot easier and faster, and the reason I got there in like 5 years instead of, you know, 50, is mentors, okay? Learning from those who have what I want. This is what I always do when I want to learn something. If I want to learn some skill, I go on YouTube or Instagram, search up people who teach that skill, watch their videos, find somebody that I connect with and resonate with, and who has exactly what I want, the exact end result, okay? So if I want a fitness coach, I'm not gonna find somebody who's fat for sure, and I'm not gonna find somebody who's like skinny but has a great metabolism, or really giant and bulky like a bodybuilder, because I don't want that physique. I'm gonna find somebody who has the exact physique that I want, pretty lean, nice shoulders, nice chest, whatever, and I'm gonna pay that person to help me. Okay, I don't even try things on my own. I never ever try things on my own. I only get educated enough to choose which mentor I'm going to pay to work with to help me get there. That's all I do. That's only education, free info that I use. These are all my paid mentors that I currently have, okay? Because I learn from people who already have accomplished it, it usually takes them like 10 years to figure out their expertise in their craft. I learn it, boosh, in like 3 months. Like if somebody's trying to figure out dating on their own, it's going to take you like 10, 12, 15 years. I mean, do you really have that time to wait until you're 35, 45, 55 to have a girlfriend, to have a wife? You know, if you're trying to get in shape, if you're trying to lose weight, can you really afford to like not know how to do this for 5, 10 more years and then, you know, get arthritis or heart disease or die? Right? Like that's how I think. I'm like, no, I can't afford losing all that time. I'm going to scrape together whatever money I have and pay that person who's an expert to get me there in like 60 days, 90 days, right? So I've had multiple dating mentors. Now, unfortunately, none of them were Asian. You know, had I had the opportunity to work with an Asian coach, I hell of would have, right? But I learned from what they taught me, and I put together my own formula for success eventually on top of that, which is what I now teach to Asian men. I've had several business mentors. I have a visioning mentor who basically now helps me create visions every year and then manifest them, turn them into reality. I have a spirituality mentor who helps me with like inner peace and like gratitude and just feeling good, feeling fulfilled. It's one thing to be successful in life, it's another thing to feel fulfilled and not have a bunch of anxiety and all these other fears and stuff like that. I have a therapist to help me through just all sorts of stuff, all sorts of inner stuff, childhood traumas, things like that. I have a fitness coach, and I have a relationship coach now who I just hired a couple of weeks ago because I recently got into a relationship and I want to make sure I have somebody in my corner who's going to help me steer this relationship in the right direction, that I'm able to grow within it, that I'm able to make sure that this is long lasting and that I don't lose everything that I built. I worked so hard to find this relationship. I'm not going to just let it tumble. It's like in the relationship, you know, there's so much growth to be had, there's so much to be learned, and I want to make sure that I am growing and maintaining this relationship in a healthy manner. So, you know, by combining these three things, that's how I was able to go from, you know, this dude right here who doesn't have any of that, you know, isn't doing something that he loves, isn't traveling the world, doesn't have any women in his life, no confidence, and believes all these false stories about himself, to, you know, this guy right here who's confident, traveling the world, you know, fit, doing something he loves for a living, and, you know, now in the relationship of my dreams. You know, I've been on probably 150 plus dates over the last 4-ish years to like figure out this dating stuff and actually find the ideal woman that I want to be with. You know, there were several times that I almost settled, but I never allowed myself to. You know, this was the exact formula. Like it's very macro, but if you want to speed up your learning process in anything and achieve the life of your dreams, this is all you need to do. You just need to define what it is that you want. You need to take massive action on it every day, and then you must have mentors. It's the difference between figuring it out in, you know, 10 years, 15 years, or, you know, 3 months, 5 months. Do you really have the time for that? You know, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, can you really afford the time to not have that dream relationship? Can you really afford the time to not be in tip-top shape and have health? Can you really afford to not have the career and the success that you want? You know, 20s and 30s is the time that you're building, right? 40s is amazing still, but it's like you need to have that time. If you're waiting till you're 50 and 60 and then trying to figure it out on your own, you're gonna be massively behind and massively unhappy. At least that's the way that I thought about it for myself. So yeah, guys, this is exactly, you know, what I did over the last 5 years to not only date the girlfriend of my dreams, but build the life of my dreams. And this applies to achieving any goal. So I wish you the best of luck with this. I hope you apply it in your own life. And if you're an Asian guy and you have your life together, you have a lot of things going for you, like, you know, you're pretty good shape, you got, you know, good finances, you got friends, you got hobbies, but you're just not able to get dates with the women that you feel like you deserve, and you just want to fill in that missing piece, that long-term relationship, go ahead and book in a call down below. I'll help you exactly through a game plan of how to start going on 2 to 3 dates every single week so you can meet your ideal woman. I'm looking forward to talking to you, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next video.